Is the shtick for Angel Reese, is it starting to wear thin?
Remember when Angel Reese joined Shaq's podcast network and everyone thought it would be huge? Fast forward a few months, and her latest episode barely hit triple-digit views. That's not a typo. We're talking hundreds, not thousands, or millions. But here's the real question. Is Angel's failing podcast just a side hustle gone wrong? Or is it actively hurting her basketball career? Fans are publicly criticizing her for prioritizing interviews with reality TV nobodies instead of focusing on guests who bring value to the podcast. Today, we're breaking down the spectacular collapse of Unapologetically Angel and what it means for her future in basketball. Angel Reese announced her podcast with Shaq's Network back in September, and her fans were buzzing about it. Unapologetically Angel was supposed to be this massive hit that would let her dominate both on the court and behind the mic. With Shaquille O'Neal's backing and the big podcast network's resources, how could it possibly fail? Angel was riding high after her basketball success, and this podcast seemed like the perfect next step to expand her brand and influence. The early signs looked promising. The connection with Shaq gave her instant credibility in the media world. Basketball fans were eager to hear from one of the WNBA's most talked about rookies. Industry insiders predicted Angel might follow in the footsteps of athletes like Draymond Green, who successfully crossed over into media. The podcast launched with significant fanfare, and expectations were through the roof. But if you look at the numbers now, just a few months later, you're seeing something shocking. I mean, people get more views covering her than her actual podcast with her in the footage interview with celebs. I mean, I just cannot believe this. While Angel's basketball highlights consistently pull in millions of views across social media, her podcast episodes are struggling to break into triple digits. Episodes that once attracted thousands of listeners when the podcast first launched now barely reach a few hundred people. This isn't just a small dip. It's a complete collapse in audience engagement. What makes this decline particularly stunning is the speed at which it happened. We're not talking about a gradual fade over years.